Okay, for the framing series, there's going to be 30 pictures using the technique of framing. And the number one thing, there's actually two really good tips I think that I want to share first before I go into detail. Number one, when you're framing, you're trying to frame a subject. So start with a really strong subject. This example picture that I took a long time ago is not a particularly strong subject unless you consider the snowy landscape to be a subject. And it's framed through playground structure with a little bit of ice. But the stronger the subject is, the stronger the framing impact will be, and I'll talk more about that later. The other one is to do other things besides windows. Not saying don't use a window, I'm just saying every picture should not be a picture of a window frame looking out onto a scene. There's a lot of different ways that we can frame, and that's what I'd like to get into. There are two example links, the Photography Vox and the Lens Lounge. Let's go ahead and take a look at those and talk a little bit more how you can use framing in your compositions. So here is a frame, it's called a natural frame, but they're using leaves to frame. Notice because depth of field is incorrect that, well, not incorrect, depth of field is at play, that the framing is out of focus, and that's okay. In this particular subject, on the bottom right hotspot, you see a little barn and a house, and that's the subject in the story. So the frame is being used effectively there. In this one, it's not even a full frame, it's just the door is being used as a frame for the dog. Background elements can frame, kind of going back to positive and negative space. Slivers can be used to frame, this door frame and the window frame. I'll move on. Other objects that you could use, I forgot what this was. Was this a toilet paper roll? But there are other things that you can use to frame subjects. And so I was thinking about like ovens, washing machines, microwaves, dishwashers, anything that you could use to create that kind of visual framing look inside the household. And then since it's a rainy day today and this week, it might be some of the things that you're looking for. And again, when I get to the ideas here, you'll see a couple of really cool ways to play with this. This second link really talks a lot about the same thing, gives you some ideas, uses architecture, so the walls of buildings as a frame or fencing as a frame. This is using people as a frame, and again the subject is the dog, so using the shoulder of this lady and her hair and another person here, that's creating the frame. Again, architecture, arches, arms, hair can be used as a frame. In this one, the baby is the primary subject of the photo, and the arm of the father, I presume, unless it's a model, is the frame, and the parents are the frame for the child. And again, the key here is to have a really strong subject and to think outside of the box, think outside of the windowsill, so to speak, so that your framing is really enhancing the photo and telling a story. And again, you're going to take 30 of these, but there should be, I imagine, a few ones that you're really proud of that you'll want to process later using your phone's processing software, or Photoshop, whatever it is you got. So let's bring it into current events. This technique was used in a project in my neighborhood. There's a photographer that went around and took pictures of families, and it's part of a larger national project in the COVID times where people are taking pictures of families, and they're using the front porch as the frame. Now again, the subject is the families, and what they're doing for during the lockdown, the toilet paper, the wine in the mom's house, the Uggs, and the kids in the window. These are really good storytelling. It tells us a good story about the family, and it's using the technique of framing because they're using the family's porch as the frame for the photo. So each one of these is, again, the subject is the family, and depending on what porch they have, and you could do this too. You could set your family up for a porch photo and use whatever you have as a front entrance as your frame. Board games, etc. So that's a good example of modern times. And I'm going to jump over to this YouTube video, starting with this picture. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is a good example of kind of a staged framing. They did this ring of daisies, I think they are, but flowers. And if you roll back to the moment where the photo was shot, there's the angle of the camera and the angle of the shot. And this photographer had a couple of other uses where he's using framing. He actually had a disassembled washing machine and got this picture where the washing machine would look like it was coming from inside. A little spray of water there. I think this one, yeah, the books. So they use books as a frame, and that light is a timed exposure. So there were LED lights around the book, and the book opened up. But again, using the books and setting them up to create the frame for that photo. is a really good technique. So if you watch this video, I'll go ahead and include a link. Let me copy that right now on the Canvas page so you can take a closer look. And hopefully it can give you some ideas to do it. Some creative framing projects inside the house. But again, go look around, take a lot of different pictures, use the technique, break out of the window-only framing idea, and choose strong subjects, especially for the ones that you're going to want to show for Criterion B. I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you have a good week of shooting framing photos. The total assignment's due on Thursday. So Criterion B, Criterion C, so try to keep that in mind. I'm sorry, not Thursday, Wednesday. But if you turn in Thursday, that's okay too. I'll be grading these mostly next week. All right, thanks for watching.